Perfect. So, good morning, good day, good evening from wherever you are tuning in to this week's sessions on the Move to Cloud webinar series. Today, we're going to talk about AI commercial discovery, a very interesting topic. And with me, I have Peter. So, just one remark, if you have questions, please enter your questions in the Q&A box and we will either answer them or type the answer during the sessions, or we will answer them latest after Peter is done with his sessions. So without further ado, Peter, I'm handing over to you.
Okay, just I will share my screen.
Perfect, we can see it. Yes.
Yeah, super. So, hello, my name is Peter, based in Waldorf. I'm AI commercial spoke, so I'm really glad to be here today. First of all, to have an opportunity to share the latest updates in AI, as well as give you a short overview of the premium AI commercial model, right? First, quick observation that SAP has always made a technological shift together with a major technological waves from R3 in the PC era through web, mobile, and cloud with S4 and RISE. So now we are in the AI era. Typically, each wave took years from, 10 or 15 to become the standard infrastructure. So AI has already moved beyond the experimental phase, and business AI is everywhere embedded across all SAP solutions, and with SAP strong focus on AI, this transformation and the next AI evolution is happening right now. It will be really fast. Today, we are moving from the traditional application-centric to the AI-centric model. So AI becomes the main interface for the end user. Many of you have heard probably about or even tried the vibe coding, right? So by the analogy, we can call this approach vibe working, moving from transaction to goals, from manual step to orchestration, or from fixed processes to flexible flow. So this shift requires a new mindset, delegation, control access, transparency, and acceptance of some level of unpredictability, right? So at SAP, we are not just improving our application, we are changing how the user interact with the enterprise systems. So a few years ago, we started with a standalone AI feature, right? When we moved to PUPM AI feature packages supporting line of business, daily work. Now, after releasing hundreds of features, we are entering the new era of agents, super agents, and role-based assistants. But this will be no longer about the standalone transactional AI features, but assistants supporting different roles from executive to operational teams. So this assistant understand the context, bring together agents, data, and business logic, and help execute end-to-end tasks. This is the vibe working comes in, user focus on the goals, while AI handles system, tools, and orchestration in the background. At your question from your side, I just put a few questions just in the presentation. How can customer navigate hundreds of AI features and agents and identify the ones that are truly relevant for the specific business process? All the latest AI feature I published in our AI catalog. I first show how you can manually and quite easily find the relevant capability to your business process. And going forward, an AI assistant will definitely help you with this discovery. So it makes sense to start exploring AI through the catalog. The link will be available in the PDF afterwards, and those who watching the recording later, it show on the screen. So today, the catalog includes more than, but not more than 380 AI features right now and agents, and this number keeps growing. Each feature in the catalog is mapped to business categories, sub-products, and additional filters. For example, if we're interested in CRM or customer experience, we select this category, and the catalog immediately show that 71 AI features belong to this area. If we choose for example, relevant to our sub-sales cloud as a product which narrowed the search to 16 features. And when we filter for free capability, for example, as our first step, this narrowed the results for 7 relevant scenario. Now let's look at the paid capability, for example. Yeah, we switched to the paid features and narrow the search to one commercial model, for example, subscription-based. So we have 2 commercial model, consumption-based and subscription-based. So for example, subscription-based is our target, and we like to see what kind of capability available there. 9 capability, this leads us to these 9 features at the right side. Just click on the first one, Q&A agent, for example, yeah, and open the card for Q&A agents. And here you can see the description for this scenario, demo material, benefits, value estimation example. So you can download them, adopt them to your situation, challenge our benchmark, for example, if it's needed, and estimate the potential impact to your concrete situation. The entrance also includes activation guidance, roadmap items, commercial details, and link to the estimator. So typically we support this through our AI discovery workshop, helping you build an adoption plan and even value estimation. But using product or contextual filter, you can quickly identify in the catalog the scenarios mostly relevant to your business. And each of them is described in details, enabling initial evaluation and exploration. So, however, to better understand the difference between the available commercial models, let's briefly go through them and their specifics. So, this is AI overall overview. We can divide all the AI feature into the 2 main area: upper part, embedded, and lower part, customized AI. So the first, embedded AI. They are ready to use AI capability built directly into the SAP AI application. They follow SAP standard and work out of the box. Within embedded AI, we have 2 levels: base AI, included and available for free, providing core AI capability, and premium AI, advanced features that use AI units and different commercial models. So there are 2 commercial options there: pay as you go, or consumption based or transactional based. So several names of the same feature based on usage, such as requests or records or step. Yeah, and PUPM. This is the abbreviation of per user per month. Yeah, per user per month. PUPM. Subscription based, typically with the metric user. So when we have, and in the end we have customized AI. Yeah, this is for very specific needs. When these embedded standard features are not enough, it's usually consumption based and built on top of BTP. So overall, SAP provides the full spectrum for built-in AI to advanced capability and fully customized solution. And the question from your side could be, more than a half of the AI feature in the AI catalog right now are marked as base. Does this mean that you can start using AI without any additional investment or cost? Yes, sir. Absolutely. Base features can be used free of charge without consuming any AI units. So to do so, you need only request the dual base entitlement. This is the SKU with a 0 cost, and start using it right now. So base AI can be very good starting point to begin right away, just to understand and to change the mindset inside your organization. Now, let's look at how premium AI works. Premium AI features are powered by AI units. So what does it mean? You can think of them as a sort of a virtual currency, right? Customer purchase AI units at the left side. For example, 100 blocks equal to, in blocks of 100, so 100 blocks equal to 10,000 capacity units, right? Those units are then pooled at the company level, and they can be used across different use cases and commercial model and solution for the AI catalog. So As we already know, there are two main consumption models. Yes, first, pay-as-you-go, consumption-based. And here usage is measured on the monthly based on the customer call, request, or records, step, whatever. And the second, at the right side, is a PUPM. Yeah, again, per user per month. And monthly subscription model typically connected to user. Purchased AI units are immediately reflected and visible in the subformia, the very right side. Then you can monitor availability of AI units, activate AI feature, analyze usage, consumption, and even explore data and analyze it, or even build your own report above it. So we'll later cover subformia analytics capability in more details. So, but it also makes sense to mention that several enhancements are on the road for the subformia functionality capability. One of our upcoming features is a simplified AI scenario activation flow planned for the April 1st. So probably it will be available right tomorrow. The question from your side, how long are AI units valid? Or can unused units be carried over so they don't expire? And how are they consumed if the customer has multiple contracts? Yeah, AI units are valid for 12 months, 1 year. So after which they expire, similar to BTP credits. So they use it or lose it principle applies. And unused units cannot be carried over between periods. So if the customer has multiply order form, we have simple priority rules define how AI units are consumed. For example, based on the expire or start dates. The logic is designed to use the oldest AI units first to minimize the potential loss of AI units. Now let's look a bit deeper into the commercial model. As shown on the slide, there are two main approaches, yeah, as we said before. At the left side, pay-as-you-go at the left and PUPM at the right, both consuming from the shared corporate AI unit pool right from the top, right from here. On the pay-as-you-go side, consumption is directly linked to the customer calls. So customer calls, yeah, the customer feature requests or calls and the conversion factor on the level of the feature. So by multiplying the numbers of the requests by the conversion factor for this concrete feature, we get the numbers of AI units consumed in the end of the month. So very simple and straightforward. On the PUPM side, the logic is more or less the same. So we have AI feature, but the AI feature are grouped into the specific line of business packages. At the left side, you could see AI features in the line of business solution packages. And we have a conversion factor on the level of this package group. Once a user subscribes to the package, two things happen. First of all, based on the package level conversion factor, a certain numbers of AI units is consumed from the AI corporate lake. And the second, each subscribed user received a defined numbers of monthly requests, which are combined into the shared request pool for the collective usage. So by multiplying the numbers of activated or subscribed to this PUPM package user on the conversion factor, we calculate the amount of the AI units consumed by the subscription. So also very simple and easy. Now regarding the overage scenarios, if the request pool, monthly request pool at the PUPM level side is exceeded and additional requests are converted into the AI units. So this is the one type of possible overage. Again, when the request in the pool during the month, during the subscription period is not sufficient, yeah, we could buy the additional request to this pool, and this is the first type of the overage. The additional AI units will be charged from the AI units pool. But if the corporate AI units pool is depleted, so there is not enough AI units pool, not enough AI units in the pool, yeah, it will be charged separately, and this is the second type of the possible overage. In simple terms, pay as you go, the left side, means pay per action, request or record per step or whatever, while PUPM means pay per user. This is the subscription, yeah, within consumption happening in the background. Question could be, can I choose between the two models, or a feature strictly tied to one of them? Each feature is strictly assigned to the specific model. So for given feature, the customer cannot choose the model, is predefined. Another one, please. If I subscribe a user to the package, I get all features, but what if I only need one? And the second question, if I subscribe a user to the multiply packages, do the conversion factors add up? Yes, exactly. So when you subscribe a user to a package, this user gain access to all features within it, and the numbers of features in the package keep growing. It's similar to the gym membership. Yeah, once you have an access, you encourage to use all the available tools inside. Yeah, to maximize the value for your body. And it would be quite unusual to buy the gym membership and use only the shower, for example. Yeah. And recently, we have been actively releasing agents that are becoming the part of the PUPM packages. So our overall goal is to move away from top one, top three, top five AI features approach towards to end-to-end process acceleration. Yes, so we can help you to identify the all relevant scenarios in the package and start using them all. So if you have already paid, so if you have already activated the user, you already paid for them. So it makes sense to leverage them all. So the more feature you use, the lower effective cost per request or per call, and the higher the value you received. And this is the key characteristic of the subscription approach. Regarding the subscription, the second question, yeah, regarding the subscription, one user to multiply packages, yeah. Yes, the required numbers of AI units is calculated for each PUPM subscription. So in the total is deducted there at the end of the month. So if we have two, for example, packages, HCM with a 0.5 conversion factor and customer experience with 8 AI units conversion factor. So in the end, we will sum it up and we will have 0.5 plus 8, we will have 8.5 AI units per user per month for these two packages. And another question, if several users are assigned to the same PUPM package, and one uses more requests while another uses less, yeah, will they be overage? First one, and the second, and can I unused PUPM requests be carried over the next period? So all the requests within one PPM packages are pooled at the monthly level. So overage occurs only if the total on the level of the PPM package, total numbers of the requests for the entire PPM package is exceeded. So it's perfectly fine if one user consume more and another consume less. These requests are treated as a kind of a fair usage limit. So we assume customer typically stay within this threshold. So that's why unused requests are not carried over to the next month. So let's look at the example with a 600 sales representative assigned to the customer experience package. At the right side, combined with a one additional transactional feature at the left side. So based on the tiered conversion factor, this makes sense to mention that for every package we have the flexible tier offering. What does it mean? More user you connect to the package, less conversion factor you have. So for one user, you could see we have the conversion factor 8. Yeah. So again, what does it mean 8? It means every user will consume 8 AI units per month. That's why we call it per user per month, right? But if we have 100 plus user, the conversion factor will be 7.2. And if we have 2.5K employee, it will be even 5 AI units per user per month. So this is motivate the customer to add additional and activate more user to the package and make the cost more, let's say, valuable for you. At the same time, so we connect 600 sales representative to the 6 PUPM package. So we have the conversion factor 6.5. This is the tier number 3. 3.9 thousands of AI capacity units will consume from the AI corporate unit, from the AI unit pool per month. At the same time, we have the fair usage limit for every user, 5,200 requests per user. So this total amount will be something like 3 million pooled requests per month. So all this 600 sales representatives are able to use this 3 million pull requests per month. So all 27 features, they are able to use all 27 features and are able to use this 3 million pull requests per month. And the questions from your side, how the tiers work. If I assigned, for example, 100 user, not 600, but 100 user, and at the beginning of the month, I add one more in the middle and then remove that user at the end of the month, which factor will apply. So 100 in the beginning, after that add one additional user, and after that delete it. So this applies not only to PUP packages. So currently the measurement logic is as follows. So at the end of the month, the system measures the maximum numbers of the unique assigned user. So, or request if we're talking about the pay-as-you-go. So, depending on the model. So, in our example, in the PUPM model, we have 100 in the beginning plus 1 in the middle. So, the maximum quantity of the unique user will be 101 user, like, and that's correspond to the tier number 2. So our tier offering will be 7.2 AI units for every user from this 101. And that's really easy. There is an additional example, more or less the same example, but I'm trying to show you from the perspective of the AI units consumption, yeah, and possible overage scenario. So we have, as it was on the previous slide, we have transactional feature with 1 million requests at the left side. We have 600 user as a PUPM subscription. So let's have a look how it will be. So our opening balance of the AI units, we have 50 blocks of 100, so it will be 5,000 AI units in the beginning of the month, and we would like to, in the end of the month, we have 1 million requests. The conversion factor for this unique transactional capability is 0.01 for one request. So in the end of the month, we should multiply 1 million on 0.01 as a conversion factor and receive 1,000 AI units that will be consumed in the end of the month for this transaction knowledge indexing feature. We have 5,000 minus 1,000, so 400 less. And regarding the PUPM package, we need to calculate, first of all, the amount of the AI units for this 600 user. Again, this is the tier number 3. For tier number 3, we have the conversion factor of 6.5. 6.5 multiply on 600 user, 3,900 AI units. 4,000 minus 3,900 is 100 as 100 in our AI corporate pool. But let's assume that we have some overages on the request level. So this 600 user, each user have 5,200 requests per month. So overall, it's something like 3 million and 120,000 of requests. But let's assume that the user overaged this amount. So actual consumption will be 3.2 million. So overage on 80,000 of the requests. So we have the special conversion rate. Additional 1,000 requests costs 2 AI units. So we need to subdivide it on 1,000 multiplied 2. So 160 AI units will be consumed in the end of the month. But we don't have this 160. We have only 100, yeah, right? And this is the second type of overage. If we don't have enough or sufficient AI units in the pool, it will be charged automatically for the special discounted price automatically. So the question from your side, are deduction made in the real time? No, calculation are performed after the month end. Usually the whole billing process finished at the third working day, the third day of next month. As discussed for the both models, the final consumption subscription metric, whenever users or requests are evaluated first, and base of those total, the required numbers of the AI units is calculated. So a few words about SAP for Me. SAP for Me is the central place where you can activate AI feature and find all AI units related information, including AI units availability, usage and consumption, balance statement, and more details. So if we go to the financial and legal folder and business AI page, you're able to see several cards. The first card, AI unit availability, show how many AI units are available for you at the start of the month when the period begins, and how many units will expire soon. So this month or within next 3 months. The second card, monthly consumption card, display how many AI units were consumed in the current and the previous month, previous 6 months. Yeah, the current month is estimated and become the final after the billing closes. As we discussed, second, not the second, the third day of the next month. AI unit consumption by product. From my understanding, the most important part of this report breaks down the consumption by packages and individual features. And you can see assigned user, so how many assigned user, included requests, how many requests were entitled, actual usage, and the total AI units and the total AI units consumed. It's also switched between months to compare usage. And in the very end, AI balance statement card. So show opening balance, closing balance of AI units, and any overages at month end. The balance statement can also be downloaded as the PDF. So if we click on the previous screen, if we click on the Joule, for example, Joule Premium for customer experience on the package, yeah, we can drill down in the specific PUPM package and see how many users were active. So which features they used and how many requests were generated on the feature level. Yeah, this provide full transparency into usage and consumption. And let's have a look at an example. So we have 20 users. First of all, we'd like to understand what's about consumption. How many requests do we have, and do we have any overage? Again, 20 user. This is 6 packages. That is why every user received 5,200 requests per user. So our limit is 100,000 requests. Actual consumption was much much more. So 500,000. Again, this is the example for the education purpose only. So big overage, yeah, 500,000 minus 100,000, so 400,000 request. And to calculate how many ions it will cost, first of all, we need to calculate the subscription, 20 user, multiply 8, because this is 20 user in our tier number 1. The conversion factor is 8. That's why we need to multiply 20 on 8. It's 160 I units. And for the overage, we have the special conversion factor, 100 requests equal to 2 AI units. So it will be 800 additional AI units. So overall, it will be 998 AI units. So all this information will be reflected here in SAP for me, plus additionally in the balance statement document, which provided detailed breakdown about more or less the same information there. This is the very brief overview of the commercial model structure. And if it seems complex, please don't worry. First, you don't need to memorize all the conversion factors in details. Everything is very clearly documented in the price list and in the catalog. Yeah. In addition, we provide the AI estimator tool, which you can calculate expected consumption for each premium feature. For example, for the PPM packages like the one we just reviewed, you only need to define the numbers of user you plan to assign, and the calculator handles the rest. So in our example, we have 600 user. You just put this information in the special field here, and all the rest information will be calculated automatically with the proper tiered conversion factor, and everything will be done in 1 second. And you are able to add transactional features, as we discussed before, knowledge indexing, for example, with 1 million requests. It could be also added in the estimator, and when in one click, you could calculate the cost on the list price, of course, yeah, the cost and possible ROI. So everything is really, really, really easy. But in the spirit of the full transparency, we're trying to explain you the overall commercial, let's say, structure, how it's calculated. But please don't scare about it, because it's not so complicated. From our side, the innovation and incubation team is happy to support you in preparation of the adoption plan, calculation of the consumption, and even forecasting the realistic numbers. And we really love help customer to even to build the value cases, yeah, and to understand what possible expected value could bring from this AI feature usage. We are also looking forward to upcoming announcement at the supplier, so new innovations, new agents, and new assistants, and further simplification of the commercial model upcoming. So we actively collect the feedback and discuss the open questions from your side, and work to implement improvement and try to do it as quickly as possible. Thank you very much for this, for your attention. And if we have questions, I will be happy to answer it.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. I think we have quite some questions. And for all the other participants, now it's the time to enter your questions in the chat. So let me start with the first one. Which role plays RISE in this context?
This is the application. So we're talking that we're trying to add the dozen. So first of all, we're trying to add the AI features for every single product that we have, and for RISE, and for every transaction we try to propose the AI feature, agents and standalone feature. This is the two separate things. RISE, this is our application, this is our core functionality, yeah. And the AI, this is the sort of extension on every business process and every functionality. So this is, we could say, this is two things that should be very connected to each other.
Okay. Several base AI services in the catalog are marked as subject to change while remaining part of the base offering. How will customers be notified if a service is reclassified as premium, particularly where the service is already widely used and such a change could result in significant unplanned cost increase?
So we're not able to switch you to the premium AI feature without any notification. So there is no chance to do it without any special activation process in the sub for me. So that is why this is not the case when tomorrow these AI units, some additional AI units will be consumed. For every promo or better features, there is a special, first of all, you sign the special documents, yeah, and we usually assign the user when we usually assign make the notification for the user when this period of promo will end. But again, this is not the case when the customer will be charged without any notification. This is not the case because first of all, you need to activate premium features in the sub for me.
Okay. I think the question was more like if they're using a service and now the service is reclassified as premium and now they cannot access it anymore.
The majority of, for example, the AI features in the very beginning classified as the base or the better, right? Because first of all, we don't want to make them premium. We'd like to make it premium. We don't want to make it paid because we would understand the behavior with these features. And more than half of the old AI agents that represent in our catalog are free of charge. And definitely they somehow will be moved to the PUPM packages or transactional or pay-as-you-go world. But we anyway will announce the customer about this transition.
Okay. Since the units expire, should one calculate conservatively and restock, or is that more expensive than calculating generously from the start, or are both options equally expensive?
Could you repeat once again? Sorry.
Yeah, so since the units expire, should one calculate conservatively and restock, or is that more expensive than calculating generously from the start, or are both options equally expensive?
I'm not quite sure that I understand the question. Probably we could.
Yeah.
I could look at it afterwards and trying to
All right,
answer.
or that person can type the questions again, so that we just better understand. Otherwise, in addition to AI tokens, do we also need to purchase tokens from model providers, OpenAI, Anthropics, etc.? If so, what would the usage be like in this case?
No. There's the unique internal currency AI units that will be covered everything, and we're not talking about the tokens here. We're talking about the calls. So this is another measurement of this interaction with the third-party LLM models. So, for example, if we're talking about the transactional capability, we're not talking about the tokens. We're talking about the calls or the request to these scenarios, and this is enough to us to recalculate this request to the AI units, and this is it. You don't need to buy anything additional to that.
Okay. Are there any estimates of how many tokens would be used on average for specific business transactions? After all, customers don't have any prior experience when they first start using the service.
As we mentioned before, we don't have any tokens in our existing commercial model. So every feature, transactional feature or subscription feature are very transparent. So you are able to use estimator to understand how many AI units will be consumed. But for the subscription features, you need to understand how many user you would like to assign to this package, and it will be enough. You just need to multiply user to the conversion factor on the package level. If we're talking about the PUPM, if we're talking about the subscription package, subscription model, and if we're talking about transactional capability, we need to understand how many requests your user will do during the month. In our previous example that we discussed before, we have an assumption that with knowledge indexing, the system will require 1 million transactions, for example. But this is you definitely should understand how many requests with not talking about the calls. This is the customer call. Yeah, how many clicks your customer will do to this concrete transaction, and according to this, and with the help of the estimator, you could easily calculate the AI units consumption. Very, very transparent.
Is there any truth in the rumors? I am hearing that at Sapphire, SAP will announce that significantly more AI features will be delivered as part of base or free. For example, ones which are currently premium will move to base.
No, no, it's better to invite everybody on the Sapphire, yeah, and not to make
Yes,
any
like
teaser regarding this. No,
yeah.
we're definitely expecting some changes in the commercial, some simplification in the commercial model, because we have heard that this is not easy for the customer to understand it, or some things regarding how to build our customized agent. So probably many additional features will be announced, but again, we should wait until the Sapphire. And very welcome everyone to the Sapphire, and just in a few months, yeah, we are also excited about it.
Okay. How is the agents commercialized?
So if we're talking about it, there are two, let's say, two kind of agents, right? Transactional and PUPM, three types of agents. Yeah, transactional, PUPM packages, PUPM packaged agent, and customized agent. All transactional or pay-as-you-go agents have the special conversion factor for the call. So if you go to the catalog on the concrete agents, you're able, first of all, to see, is it the part of the PUPM package or transactional? So this is the first step. If this is transactional, you can see how many AI units will be consumed per one call or per request. This is also very transparent. If the agents, for example, Q&A agent, as we just saw in the example, this is the part of PUPM 6 package, PUPM package, yeah? So you don't, in this case, you don't need to care about how many, not how many, this is the part of the PUPM packages, that's why you don't need to pay additionally for this package. You need only to pay for the user that will be connected to these PUPM packages. As we discussed before, we have a flexible tier offering. For example, one user, we need 8 AI units to connect one user to this package. And everything, including agents, will be available for the customer. And we need only to think about it. Even the overall amount of the request will be overage, but this is something separate. And the third part, this is customized agents that you're able to build in the Joule Studio. We presented this feature in December. For now, you're able to build your own customized agents and, let's say, use it in the pay-as-you-go mode. And till the end of May, it's free of charge for my understanding. And we're just trying to find the right commercial way how to make it more, let's say, interesting for you. So that's why the commercial model for the customized agents are not fixed yet.
Okay. How is the co-mining of AI units handled in SAP for me billing when as a partner we have bought production AI units for G4C and TTD AI units for TDD scenarios?
Let's park this question as our homework.
Okay. All right. So I suppose that will be answered later. Is it possible to push data from SAP for me to Power BI dashboards?
I know that in the roadmap we have the possibility, probably it will also answer your question, we're able to upload their information using API availability. It's expected in the Q2 or Q3, sorry, I don't remember, honestly. It's not our official, let's say, promise, yeah, but we do our best to make all this information possible. So you're able to upload the all relevant information from SAP for me with this API availability to build your own reports above it with proper notification and additional calculation, for example, to share or to split, the AI costs for your subsidiary, for your enterprise, and so on and so forth. So this feature will be available in the middle of the year. So my expectation of that.
Okay, last question. How could we contact you?
I'm the part of innovation incubation team. Probably you could provide my email or
So,
yeah, just I'm available and we're ready to help customer to first of all explain the commercial model, to provide the AI workshop with our account executives, right, team, and to build adoption plan, to probably help to build the value cases, value journey. So
yeah,
many
so I've added
things
your
that
email
we're able
address in
to.
the,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just
so I've
just
added
for
your
the.
email address in the chat.
But
Okay.
please mind to put your account executive responsible person just to in the spirit of the full transparency. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. While we're waiting for other questions, let me remind you that we will start next week with our public cloud webinar series. So we have 4 very exciting sessions on public cloud, starting from next week, where we also talk about how to use business AI in the specific public cloud context. So happy to welcome you also next week to our very insightful start of the public cloud webinar series session. So let me check. We had 2 questions which will be handled separately. So I would ask those colleagues to reach out directly to you, Peter, with share the link for the public. Yes. Let me just add in the chat the link to the registration page. So that is our registration page that you see here in the link. And there you can also register for the starting public cloud webinar series. Happy to welcome you also all next week to our session. And with that, I don't think we have any additional questions. That was very insightful, Peter. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for that session. Very insightful. We had a very quite interesting questions. So thank you also thank you to all the participants that have joined today. Thank you for all your questions and wish you all very good rest of the week and see you next week where we continue. All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye.